Cool. We live?
I think so.
Kevin? Hello and welcome to Broadsheet on the Telly. I'm not sure whether I can be viewed. Am I on the screen? I'll go to
yeah, I can see
you. Sorry, hello. If you can see me, welcome. I'm John Ryan. This is Broadsheet on the Telly. It's May 11th, going into the 12th. We have a drastically depleted panel for reasons which I'll explain onto the papers. But with us is Johnny Keenan, Neil Curran, and Olga Cronin, who works with us at the Sheet. So Olga is going to go through tomorrow's papers, and we'll talk after that. Thank you. Hey, you're on now.
Yeah, are the papers up? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So the Times of Ireland there, the splash is by Niamh Lyons. It's basically on the comments of the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michael Barnier. He was in Dublin earlier today, and basically he's worried that there'll be consequences for the other members of the EU as a result of Brexit. There's a story along the bottom, just quickly. Basically, Fianna Fáil Senator Aidan Davitt, he's saying that at least 10,000 extra properties could be on the market in the space of a year if government cut capital gains tax. In the Irish Times, Sarah Barden and Pat Leahy's on the appearance of members of the Department of Justice in PAC earlier today. And they're basically reporting on how Noreen O'Sullivan delayed telling the Garda's internal audit unit of the financial irregularities at the Garda College, even though she'd been instructed to do so by the Department of Justice. So essentially, Noreen O'Sullivan told PAC last week that she set up a working committee immediately after she was informed of the irregularities on July 27, 2015. But today at PAC it emerged that she didn't tell the Department of Justice about this until October 2015. And when the department became aware, it wrote to the Garda management telling it that the internal audit unit needed to be told urgently. But the head of that unit, Niall Kelly, wasn't told until March 2016, 5 months later. In addition, it just in the kind of body of the story, it says that it reports as well that after a new government is formed, when Enda Kenny steps down, Fianna Fáil won't facilitate the reappointment of Francis Fitzgerald. And interestingly, there's just a tag to a story on page 2 saying that the commissioner initially refused to appear before the policing authority. So see what that is tomorrow. They also report about the visit of Michael Barnier, and that there's a tiny little story there at the bottom about a former AIB executive who had debts of between 85 and 95 million in 2015. So that's another one to read tomorrow. In the Irish Examiner, there's a story on the side about the guards again, Fear Pro Conna, and he says that the former Garda commissioners Martin Callan, Faughn Murphy and Noel Conroy may be ordered to attend the Public Accounts Committee in light of the stuff about the Garda College. And also the Sinn Féin TD, and he's a PAC member, David Cullinan, has said that the meetings should include individual discussions with the head of the Garda Audit Committee, its chief accounting officer and other individuals without Noreen O'Sullivan being there. And then the main story, though, by Conal Farta is about Synergy Credit Union in Fermoy in County Cork. It has about 16,000 members or so, but it's basically confirmed that it's discovered that more than 400,000 euros in total was stolen from around 29 members' accounts in a series of unauthorised transactions. This was discovered last September. And just to say, in the story there, so he says, so Mr. Farta or Conal Farta says that the Guardian Central Bank were informed while Grant Thornton is carrying out an independent investigation. But Conal also says that he lists in the story a number of questions that he put to the credit union, one of which is a Garda inquiry ongoing into the matter, but the CEO of the credit union, Martina Cotter, declined to answer rather, except to say that the credit union has confirmed an individual has accepted responsibility and has cooperated with the investigation, and also the accounts that were affected have been replenished. And then at the bottom there, Creelty says that the costs arising from the Gorse fires could reach 4 million, if not more. That's kind of goes it.
With the Ronan Dara got freedom of Cork.
Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. Yeah, Ronan Dara got freedom of Cork. Yeah, sorry, that was in most of the front pages as well. Yeah, so following the footsteps of Sonia Sullivan and Roy Keane. and Sean will go helping. He's got the keys to the city. So.
Okay. You don't want to do. There's no. Is that all the papers? The Irish paper.
Oh, the front pages. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you want? Okay. Okay.
Oh, sorry. And Corbyn vows to transform lives as party backs radical manifesto. There was a leak, a document was leaked to the media, and apparently he's going to say he's not a pacifist in his speech on foreign policy. So.
Well, thanks, Olga. Thank you very much. So there are a number of people who have left the site and left the Telly over our decision yesterday to link to the video of Dara quickly being arrested on a Dublin street, and we've sadly we saying goodbye to Izzy and Kevin Kazi, Adele Brady, Mike McGrath Bryan, who was producer of the show, Gavin Hennessy, who was the technical aide, Nick Flavin, the cartoonist, Mark Malone, Caroline, I think, McAvoy. I haven't heard from her today, and a number of other people. I just on behalf of everybody here, I just want to thank all of them. They were, fantastic with the site, and it was great to have Izzy on, and it was fantastic. Mick Flavin's cartoons are currently the best, I think, in Ireland. So none of this. I'm personally very sorry, but we just want to thank everybody, all the people who have done the work for us or have worked with us. Sorry, that we would like to say thank them, and we completely understand why they made that decision, and also I know that Johnny Keenan was reluctant this evening with absolute justification, and Neil is with us and has asked me to not make us the story, which of course it seems to have happened that way, but really what I wanted to do was say that the decision was my decision and mine alone, and it was a deliberate decision, and one which I sensed I knew that there would be a reaction of some kind, and it was intended in that manner, not to have upset anybody particularly, but it was a shocking video, and I personally wanted as many people to see it as possible. Not for titillation or any prurient reason at all, because I believe that it demonstrates very well what Dara was up against. And I hope that as developments emerge, you will see that my actions aren't as disgusting and horrific and horrible as they must seem to people perhaps who were not appraised with the full story. And I don't believe that I'm fully appraised with the full story either. But my decision was based on what I felt needed to be seen. I think the problems with that Dara faced prior to her death was despicable, and the video shows Dara under the care of the state, walking down the street and being bundled into a car in a very callous manner. I was shocked when I saw it, and I knew that there would be some form of backlash. I didn't, but my feelings were that I don't wish to say this for any other reason, but I think that the spirit of Dara would have appreciated the gesture, because not only were the motivations completely, and my motivations were not for clickbait, not to sensationalize, not to trivialize, not for clickbait, or not for any other reason other than it showed that Dara was right. And I would also say then the family, the reason we didn't contact the family was the same reason we didn't contact the family after the death of Dara, because it was our understanding that Dara was estranged from the family. And I don't really want to talk more about that, but that was, if it was insensitive to, it was against the wishes of the family. We understood that the family did not wish for Dara to be identified as the person in the video. Well, I would disagree with the family on that, and it may not be my right to, but I believe that Dara was a citizen, and she was under the care of the state, and this is how she was treated. I could describe it to you all day, but there's nothing like watching that video to demonstrate that. The aspects of Dara's story will emerge, I know, and I hope that maybe the people who are still involved in Broadsheet would wait till those developments emerge before they, before they leave us with just me, Olga, and Roger. And as for directing anger towards the site and stuff, it was purely my decision. It wasn't to do with Mike or anybody, Mark, anybody on the site other than my decision. And it was made to shock, and I'm truly sorry for the clumsy manner in which I've explained myself tonight, and also which we endeavoured to explain on Twitter and on social media. On the clickbait thing, we don't make money on this site, and we never have. We made money the first 6 months, we made money in the first year, sorry, and we stopped making money after we covered certain stories. And we realized that what we were going, we were even approached by a news organization to buy the site. And we thought, oh God, we'll get out of this, because what we're just getting is the abuse and stuff on the online, the comments during the first year. But we did a story on Kay Fitzgerald's death, and for that moment, I think Olga would agree that it changed the site and it changed us. And so what we do is, what you see, what we're posting, there's no agenda behind that. We're not Marxists, we're not shit stirrers, we're not tabloid merchants. The people who work on the site do so for nothing, and do it because occasionally we can make some subtle, slight difference, or help out some issue. And it's a lot of fun actually doing it. I mean, it's great fun, and I know, like, it's a hugely rewarding job. It's a very, very difficult week, and I'm sorry to Dara's friends and everybody who knows her and her family for for the manner in which how this is played out. But I take full responsibility for it. I don't really know where to go beyond that. But if as I say, my email is jpryan1967@gmail.com, and if you wish to write to me, please do so, and I will respond to every person who writes to me on the email. So anyway, I wanted to ask Johnny. I said to you before the show, if you wish to, if I would explain myself, if you wish to leave after that, that's absolutely in your grace. But would you like to add anything to this?
Oh, John, I don't know. Well, like you said, like, you know, that I was apprehensive about coming on. I made the decision to come on. I wasn't coaxed into it. So I just was there online. I read all the comments, all 292 of them. I think that's probably one of the. I am kind of new enough to Broadsheet, so I don't know the history of the contributors. But I was very inspired by Dara. You know, I didn't know her personally, but she definitely evoked something in me, and her writings, like, I've been just reading it the last, like, before yesterday, since she passed, I suppose, which is a month ago, the 11th, 12th of April. So, you know, it's still very fresh for an awful lot of people. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I know that from my understanding of Broadsheet contributors, they're well informed, and they kind of work together as a team, and they tend to see the big story. But backlash in relation towards you, and I suppose Broadsheet, on the back of this video is it's an eye opener in related to the way people are emotionally hurt, and also some people aren't informed, have strong opinions, because everyone else has as well. But that's the internet in general, and it's just there's no winners here, John. It's shocking that Broadsheet have lost a good contributor. The country has lost a great activist, and, you know, her memory needs to be kept alive in relation to what she was. Beautiful writer, a really inspiring writer, and I think most of the stuff that I have seen so far, Broadsheet has given a platform to. So, you know, I've got a lot to say in relation to ideas and opinions, and I see Broadsheet as that. So I commend you tonight by saying what you said, and being willing to just stand by your decision in some kind of way. Or you're not trying to justify it, but you're trying to deal with it. So I kind of appreciate and respect that. But I just think that the big picture is that Dara was a beautiful soul, and her memory needs to be kept alive in a positive way. And also, the guards have an awful lot to do with now, as well as everything else. On the back of this isn't going to go away. So that's really what I have to say. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, thanks, Johnny. I really understood how difficult it was for you before the show, and I really wanted to maybe not to do the show, but I want to say that I appreciate it. But the timing, when I saw the video, when I actually saw when Olga showed me the Sun story, and Olga mentioned that could this be Dara, because the dates when the body was found was April the 12th, which is the same date that Dara was found, and I said it just couldn't be possible. I mean, it just seemed unbelievable. But we found the video, and it wasn't very difficult to find. and it was Dara. And my decision to link to it was actually a fear that it would be pulled down by the authorities that well, rightly, but this video did need to be seen in my view. And I could go all night on that, but I don't think that any description could have adequately summed up what I saw, certainly on the video. Sorry, Neil.
Yeah, I didn't know the person, and obviously I don't work for Broadsheet, so but I think Johnny kind of put it best about, you know, remembering Dara for the inspiration that she was, and not too dissimilar to Johnny. I read up on the matter today, and then did a search for some of the work that she had done, and you know, it's a tragic case. I know she was very, very well known to a lot of you, so you've lost a friend and a colleague. But I really do hope that, you know, justice prevails here with what has happened. You know, there's a lot of anger that's been expressed about this online. You know, from a personal point of view, I don't agree that the video was posted, but from my own perspective. I really do hope, though, that some of the anger that was expressed at Broadsheet today, you know, about this, because I know a lot of people commented about reporting Broadsheet to
Arts Council.
Yeah, who did sorry, the name escapes me now. And I hope that people who are as angry with Broadsheet are as angry with, you know, what happened, and will contact the government, will contact their local politicians and demand, you know, change for how we deal with mental health issues in Ireland, and demand an inquiry into what happens with the Gardaí, because that's most important here. But Johnny said it better than me.
Thanks, Neil. I had a correspondence with Dara's brother today, and it turned out we knew each other from many years ago, and I asked him to come on the show if he wished to highlight the vigil that is being held tomorrow evening. We'll have the details up on the site in the morning, but they're online as Kitty Holland has tweeted it out.
Yeah, it's outside Leinster House at 5:30 tomorrow.
Sorry, yeah, I thought it was 6, so I didn't want to get that wrong. Olga, did you want to add anything?
I met Dara last year at the Journalism and Crisis Conference at the University of Limerick. And I think anyone who was there would remember Dara, because she was quite fearless. You know, she had no problem speaking up about what she believed and where she wanted journalism to go. She was fearless. That was my overriding memory of Dara. You guys mentioned her writing. She wrote a beautiful piece in the Dublin Inquirer. The headline was "Every Addict Has the Right to a Better Life," and she talked about, she opened it up by saying, it was a few weeks after the equality referendum. I was sitting with the HSE councillor in one of the drug outreach centres in the city. Well, you have to admit, she said in a nice calm tone, all that addicts being treated with dignity and respect, I mean, that was all a bit delusional, wasn't it? I was just thinking about that, you know, just before we came on the show, because I think, you know, the debate about us linking or not linking, it's a pity that that's what people are focusing on. I think we have to focus on Dara. You know, we have to focus on what happened to her and what she was fighting for. You know.
Don't as this evening, but it's really sad to lose people like Adele and Izzy and Mick Flavin. It's extremely Mark Malone. I would, you know, it's devastating, really. And oh, sorry, excuse me. Sorry. 1 second. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry, 1 second. 1 week. Okay. Might have to go off for a second. Sorry. Please talk amongst yourselves again. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
It's okay.
I was going to say that Izzy wrote a lovely email tonight and just said, "Don't go on, don't explain, don't just leave it. Leave it. It's a grotesque error. Don't come on and explain." But I think, I don't know. I mean, our relationship with our readers is a little bit different from other sites and other places. We've seen them go through rehab, suicides, depression. They have become our friends. I mean, I'll get you. I mean, they're virtual friends, but I mean, the commentariat or our commenters are
The site.
they are the site, and if they think that if they think after tonight, for instance, that it's not working, get him out of there, get me out of here, we'll keep it going. I would be absolutely, but I responsive to what the people, what the readers are saying. I really genuinely would, I would, because it's if it damages the credibility. Sorry, Neil?
I think we're losing you a bit, John. You were fading in and out of reality. Of reality, we're frozen there.
Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, we got you now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was rambling there anyway, and just to say that Izzy had put forward a lot of objections to us or to me explaining my position tonight. I just want to put that out there that there are a lot of people on the site who worked on the site who are totally against this decision and want nothing to do with it and want nothing more to do with the site. And I would love if that were not the case, that the decision was almost known with a feeling that there would be a backlash, and whatever backlash would have to be faced, and that the details wouldn't be as well known as to people generally than people who knew Dara. Sorry, I don't want to keep on rambling. Olga, will you please say? Oh, sorry. Johnny, would you like to add anything?
It's just terrible, John. Like the whole situation has come to this. There is a bigger picture in relation to around this. I don't have much experience, but you really can't jump to conclusions when you don't really know the whole story, and that's a valuable lesson that everyone will learn over their life. To learn it once is enough, but it's suicide is just so fucking heartbreaking. And I think someone like, and as I say, I don't know Dara, and just through her words, she definitely struck a note in relation to this kind of depression that we don't talk about. No one walks into the light for the manic street preacher, if you like. That's what she was. She wanted to shake up the system and it wasn't a left agenda. It was just what's right, what people sacrifice for this country. And she challenged Enda Kenny and full on in that place, and that was a charade. And just because she used foul-mouthed word, that was a story that followed her. But to get up and to actually challenge him there in that place, because he was taking the piss out of the 1916 commemoration. You know, that, and it took a very brave person, and as Olga said, she didn't back down. And I did see that video where she was in UL. For a small woman, she had a very strong voice, and you know, it's just very well respected amongst an awful lot of people. And as I said, like, that kind of depression isn't looked at. Someone with a big heart and who has the better for people. And you know, I can kind of empathize with that, because you know, you get so disillusioned and so annoyed that you don't have a voice. And so, you know, the elephant in the room here is the guards. The little fucking prick that recorded that and thought that was funny. Like, do they have any kind of, you know, what do they teach them in Templemore? You know, to actually send that out on WhatsApp and then to go. I don't know if that directly affected her suicide, but you know, I'm not going to judge it. But I'm just saying that the cops are really not. They have a disdain for people like Dara Quigley, who stand up and be counted. You know, you see it in Rossport. I seen it in 2001 when the guard took off his number and started baiting students because they were out protesting on College Green. Abilara wasn't dealt with. You know, there's a serious disdain for people who are protesters from An Garda Síochána. And I think that's the bigger picture around this. In relation to the video, I don't think it's probably right to talk about it, but you know, they could have handled that different. They're quick to jump to conclusions, I think, in relation to protesters. In my experience, as a protester, the Garda Síochána, in my experience, I'm talking about here now, they don't really, and I suppose that they can't, because there's an awful lot of tension, maybe in relation to the way they look at people who not confront them, but confront the establishment. And we only have the power of protest. And so in that regard, I can kind of see how Dara might have been upset and depressed about social issues. And I think that's one thing I really want to see happen in relation to people being taken seriously because they have serious concerns and they get depressed by the environment around them. So that's what I'm really kind of upset about, that someone like Dara Quigley would have to go out like that. It's terrible, really. But our legacy lives on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about mental health a lot in Ireland, and not enough is being done. I mentioned just before we went live about that horrendous segment that it's on Matt Cooper yesterday on The Last Word. He had a lady on whose child has Down syndrome and has he's 13 now, and since he was 8 he has been making attempts at taking his own life. Sorry, not Down syndrome, autism, apologies. And she talked about, you know, the service or the lack of service she's getting from the health system. You know, mental health still has that stigma that it's only a problem when it affects other people. And we need to introduce measures that we can, in the same way that we treat road safety, we need to introduce measures that we are setting targets, that, you know, systems are put in place, bodies are being set up to treat with mental health in the way it needs to be treated. There was a wonderful piece by a gentleman by the name of Neil Kelders on the journal.ie today, where he was talking about his own experience with mental health issues and anxiety and his own personal experience. And, you know, nowhere in the article is he talking about the help that he's getting from the state or things like that. We really do, you know, so many times in the last 6-12 months we're reading about tragic cases, and it's just not good enough. I mean, I've lost a family member before the era of social media to suicide, and it was horrific. I mean, I can remember, I was young at the time, but I can remember the local newspaper running a 2-page story on it, and it was horrific. That was a long time ago, and nothing, in my opinion, has changed in Ireland when it comes to dealing with issues like this. And there's, Pieta House are a wonderful place. They deal with this kind of thing, and they do tremendous work. We need more from our state.
We do, and I think like the issue of dual diagnosis, where somebody has a mental health issue but also has an addiction issue, but the case that, or the situation that you can't get help for one or the other when you have the one or the other. So and I guess I probably didn't even explain myself correctly when I drew attention to that piece that she wrote, but I would encourage people to read it, because she does outline the difficulty that she has faced in trying to get dignity, but also services and help. Like, I'm from a town called Middleton in County Cork, and I think everyone in Ireland knows the suicide problem there. I think there was 36 in 4 years when I was a teenager. So yeah, it's I mean, I've lost count of the amount of times people have written in first-hand accounts to us, John, and they do get a very big reaction from readers and people, but actually what changes? Yeah, what actual changes? Nothing. So
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Dara's beautiful words meant nothing really in the end of the day, because nobody really acted on them. Nobody took her seriously. She was often vilified on Twitter, often by the same people who are now using this, I think, in many cases to promote another agenda. Sorry, Johnny, did you want to?
No, just like, it's just the fucking hypocrisy. Like, someone like Enda Kinney from Canada with a Pieta House T-shirt, and we want to hear your problem. He doesn't give a fuck about our problem. He really doesn't. And the hypocrisy is depressing in itself. That this is the austerity. This is what Dara wrote about. We don't see the thing behind austerity, but she did, and she wrote about it. She was at the front line of the water protest. She was in the food banks, and she was writing because she was there, and she was obviously part of that, and she had a drug problem. Oh my God, was she able to deal with such dignity? And like, the inspiration that she will have in relation to people standing up and being counted now is powerful, because that's what I'm saying about legacy. It's so important that it's not tainted, and people need to understand that it makes sense now. But it doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to justify what happened yesterday with Broadsheet, but Broadsheet is not the problem here. The problem is society, and as Neil and Olga said, how we deal with depression. Because depression has many heads, and you can talk about the likes of Pieta House and it's good to talk and all this kind of stuff. But it's almost like, and then you see it's almost like a business. People are almost capitalizing on people's depression by having conferences and all this kind of stuff, and they know who they are, these talking heads that turn up at these conferences and associated with insurance companies and the church. The church are very big into talking about depression. Religion has no place in relation to psychology, absolutely no place. And that where people are vulnerable, you see the Catholic Church rushing in to save their souls almost. That's fucking pathetic. That's hypocritical. So there is an awful lot of people out there, and I'll say myself, I'll just speak for myself. I'm really pissed off with the way this country is being run by the people who are running it, and the hypocrisy. And you feel like you're not when you're trying to just do good, and you feel like no, sure, listen, no one wants to. just keep your head down and say nothing. All this shit that drove this country into a fucking hole from 100 years ago. Like tomorrow is it's 101 years since James Connolly was executed. And I'm not going off on a left agenda here, but like, you know, that's the spirit of the nation. That's what we were trying to harness 100 years ago, and it's fitting that Dara's vigil should be on the anniversary of James Connolly, because she is of that ilk in relation to, you know, all we want is the earth. Like, you know, we just want you know, this is Ireland. The sacrifices have been made, and her sacrifice has been made, and that can't be in vain.
I don't think.
And depression, that kind of depression. I think there's an awful lot more people affected by that kind of depression. That's the kind of depression I want to see talked about. Because the only thing that people that suffer from that kind of depression, I just talk to myself, just a bit of dignity, a paying job, contribute to society, and knowing that Ireland is actually can take its place with the nations of the world. And I'm not getting all rhetoric about the proclamation, but that's why I really believe we don't ask for too much. Just a bit of dignity, and be able to be part of a society that seems to be about everybody. And then you can talk about sorting out the drug problem, the depression problem, the social housing problem. We need to work together, everyone, and that's basically it.
We do. I think mental health it's such a big issue. I don't know if there's any country that has a better handle on it, and of course, in my ignorant head, I haven't done any research on it. But you know, there's other countries that have the same struggles we do in that arena. And I'm not trying to take away from what you're saying, Johnny. Like, there's no silver bullet to fix this problem. And mental health isn't just depression; it covers a broad range of topics. And you're absolutely right. We have to work together. We need to invest in dealing with this. But we have a very, very long way to go.
I don't think Dara's. I think Dara's legacy will be a change in not just attitude, but I think a change in the law. I think that people like Dara, people who find themselves in a position like Dara did for the last, certainly the time that I knew her, they need help. They need proper help. They shouldn't be walking down the street in that manner if they're under care. And sorry, Olga.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was today there was a Tree of Hope launched somewhere in Dublin, I think, for mental health, and I saw it on Twitter and I saw the reaction. You know, people were kind of going, okay, so this tree is to, you know, fix me, or, you know, and I get the symbolism, but or the attempt, but yeah, I mean, I guess I'm only kind of echoing what you guys are saying. You know, proper structural help that works, that is responsive, that is responsible, that's accountable. I just don't know how, like, you know, how many people have to, or how many people, you know.
I would say something that it's difficult. You know, Dara was difficult to, you know, very mercurial, and she found herself in a position that there was nobody who had the time, frankly. You know, I mean, there were many times that I wish I'd, you know, remember when we started Broadsheet on the Telly, we wanted Dara on.
Yeah.
And
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, but I just felt, was this, you know, could she, you know, I mean, I was making my own excuses. You know, I was feeling like, oh well, maybe, I don't know, is this because and I'd love to have had her on, but I remember thinking, oh, okay, well, yeah, but you know, so I too felt, you know, but I saw that, I saw it, and I said, when I saw the video, I said, of course, look, this is it. This is what she was writing about. This is what she was going through, and not a lot of people believed her. Not a lot of our commenters even took against her in some. If you look back under the columns, I just like to hope to send out all my best to all the contributors and to Neil Murphy, who we set up the site about 7 years ago, and he's been very supportive today about my decision, and I think like I'll be working with us. The reasons that we were being accused of what we did are not the reasons. They're simply not the reasons that for us doing it. Whether it was an error that is clearly a misjudgment of catastrophic proportions, but it was deliberate and intended. And I hope talking about Dara, that seems possibly a decision that might have been right. No, well, we'll never know. But I think we might call it a night. It's been extremely difficult this evening. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very, very nervous, and I would like to thank Johnny Keenan, Neil Curran, Olga Cronin, and everybody who's worked on the show. We'll be back next week. We'll be back on the site in the morning, and I'd appreciate all your feedback, and you're welcome to write to me personally. Thank you very much. Thank you.